It began like any other morning over the Baltic Sea. Calm skies, silent radars. But then, a disturbance appeared. 3 fast-moving objects closing in on Estonian airspace. As the seconds ticked, the radar image became clear. MiG-31 fighter jets, Russian warplanes capable of flying at nearly 3 times the speed of sound. And then it happened. Estonia says the jets crossed the line, not for a few seconds, but for 12 long minutes. Their transponders, the beacons that identify planes to civilian air traffic, were switched off. Their flight plan had not been shared, and no communication came from the cockpits. For those 12 minutes, Russian fighter jets roamed inside NATO skies, and no one knew exactly what they intended to do. This wasn't the first time. Russian aircraft have violated Estonian airspace before, but this time felt different. Estonia's government called it unprecedentedly brazen. Within moments, NATO scrambled Italian F-35s stationed in the region as part of its Baltic air policing mission. Suddenly, what started as a quiet morning turned into a tense standoff above the Gulf of Finland. To understand why this matters, you need to know where it happened. Estonia is a tiny NATO country with a population of barely over 1 million, and it shares a border with Russia. For Estonia, airspace isn't just about the sky, it's about survival. And when Russian warplanes cross into its territory, the message is clear: your borders mean nothing. Estonia didn't treat this as an isolated incident. It was already the 4th violation in 2025 alone. This time, they went a step further, invoking NATO's Article 4. That means Estonia demanded urgent consultations with other NATO members, raising the stakes from a local incident to a matter of global security. But here's where the tension spikes. Article 4 is consultation. Article 5 is defense. If NATO ever declares that an attack on one member is an attack on all, then incidents like this could spiral into something far larger than just 12 minutes of airspace. Russia, of course, denied everything. The Russian Defense Ministry claimed the MiG-31s were on a routine flight from Karelia to Kaliningrad, staying safely over neutral Baltic waters, more than 3 kilometers away from Estonia's Vaindloo Island. In Moscow's telling, the story is simple. Estonia is exaggerating. But Estonia's radar data says otherwise. So who do you believe? The motives behind the flight remain murky. Some analysts think this was a deliberate test of NATO's reaction speed. By sending jets without transponders, Russia could watch how quickly NATO scrambled, what routes they took, and how closely they monitored the incursion. Others believe it was a signal, a reminder to Estonia and the West that Russia can reach their skies whenever it wants. A warning without firing a single shot. And history makes this even more chilling. During the Cold War, airspace violations often led to deadly consequences. Jets were intercepted, sometimes fired upon, and tensions escalated in an instant. Today, with NATO and Russia locked in a fragile balance, a miscalculation in the Baltic skies could be catastrophic. All it takes is one pilot misinterpreting a radar lock, one missile system mistaking a jet for a threat, and the situation could explode into conflict. For Estonia, this is personal. Every violation is a reminder of their vulnerability. That's why they lean so heavily on NATO's shield. But here's the uncomfortable question. What happens if Russia pushes harder? If instead of 12 minutes, their jets stay for an hour? What if they cross not just the skies, but the land or sea? At what point does NATO stop talking and start acting? As of now, NATO's response has been careful. Meetings, statements, and reassurances that the alliance stands united. But beneath the surface, the stakes are clear. Russian jets flying without transponders over Europe's borders is more than a violation. It's a message. So what comes next? That depends on how far Moscow is willing to go and how much Estonia, NATO, and the world are willing to tolerate. Will this remain another incident filed away in history books, or the first crack in a fragile piece that could shatter at any moment? One thing is certain, the skies above the Baltic are no longer calm. Every radar ping, every unknown blip, every approaching jet carries the risk of turning whispers of war into reality. Thanks for watching. Do you think this was an accident, a deliberate test, or something darker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Avenza Void for more global mysteries, Hidden tensions in the stories that shape our world behind the headlines. Because sometimes the most dangerous battles begin long before a single shot is fired.